Hello, welcome to episode 60 of How to Play Like a WoW Pro. Today I have a replay for you in the CS63 from the east spawn of Studzianksi. This replay I played on the European server, so my ping wasn't the greatest. It was around 140 on average. And as you can see, I don't have a directive, I don't have the best equipment available, and I didn't have the best crew, etc. So, not really a big deal. I should still be able to do around the same average damage, maybe minus 100 or 150 DPG or something. But it is something to keep in mind. Now, in this replay, I don't know exactly what I want to show you because it's been a long time since I watched this replay and I forget what exactly happens. However, let's just first look at the matchmaking. So first of all, there's 3 artillery. That's something to keep in mind if you YOLO the south and take into the bowl, because then the arty will definitely be shooting you the whole time you get lit, because they don't really have shots here, and that's where the majority of the tanks play. They don't have shots on anybody who's not lit playing back here. They don't have shots on anybody who's not lit who's back here. The only real places they have shots are here if somebody gets lit, or down here, and they primarily shoot down here because tanks that play here are either light tanks or they're just not lit. So you need to be very careful when playing in the dip on this map when there's artillery. And so the question in this matchmaking is, where should I go? Now first of all, some things to look at is, first of all, I'm not top tier. The enemy has 3 medium tanks and a couple, like 3 fast heavies. We have 2 medium tanks and only 2 fast heavies. And so we're at a disadvantage when it comes to winning the dip. And even if I do win the dip, it's not a great situation because they have 3 artillery. So taking the dip is always a risky play. That doesn't mean I don't ever do it. It just means if I'm going to do it, first of all, I need to make sure that my team is supporting me. If nobody else is coming with me, I'm simply going to turn around and leave because it's not worth it. Or I'll stay at the church and farm some spotting damage as the enemies push me. So your only real other options on this map are to go all the way north, which I don't really like unless you're in a light tank, or to play in this area here, and then you can snipe the south. And so that's what I decided to do this game, probably because of the artillery and because we're at a disadvantage for winning south, just based on our tank composition. But you always want to look at the deployment of your own team, especially on this map, because it's kind of important. You need to know whether you're going to have spots for yourself. If you come to this position, which I'm going to right now, you need to know whether there's anybody who's going to even be spotting for you. If nobody comes south at all, then there's really no point to you being here, because who are you going to shoot? If no one's spotting for you, there's not going to be any shots here anyways. Now, one thing to look at here is what I'm doing right away. So I shoot down this building with HE right away at the start of the battle. Now this is something that you'll occasionally see other good players do, but it's not something you see very often. And I think it's something that if you're in a single shot tank, that you should be doing at the start of every single battle if you're coming to this position, because the reason you want to shoot down this house, especially the right side of this house, is if enemy tanks decide to push up to this church and your team has tanks sitting on the other side of this church, then the enemies will get proxy spotted, and then you'll have shots on them right here. And so if you have nothing else to shoot at the beginning of the game, which you almost definitely won't unless you have a light tank on your team who yellows through the open like this, then you want to shoot down this house. Now in this game there is no light tank, so there's nobody who's going to be potentially YOLOing across the field spotting enemy campers for me, so I have no reason not to shoot this house because nothing's going to get lit in the meantime, so I might as well just shoot it down. Here the Leo gets lit and I get a very unlucky shot on him. I don't get lit in return, which is nice because the enemy arties aren't going to be aimed on me. The enemy arties do have shots on you if you're playing at the very edge here, but if you tuck in, like in between shots, then their shots on you are not very good until late game when they potentially rotate through to the south and then they have better angles on you. But early on in the game, playing here, if I get lit, I might be in a little bit of danger from artillery, but as long as I back up after every shot, I should be relatively safe. There I take out the Leo. I was thinking about holding my shot just to get more damage, but I don't know. It's a kill. I'll take it, I guess. I want to help out our V4 because as you can see, he yellowed into the ditch all by himself. Now here, I almost decided to commit and go help our V4, but I see that that's probably not the best idea. If the enemy team yellows another tank into the ditch, then it could be bad for us. And plus there's a small chance that I get lit as I cross this gap and I get shot from here, or from anybody who's playing here as I drive through here. There's a small angle from here to here where they can shoot me, so instead I just decide to stay back. I wait to see if any enemy tanks will commit first, and then when I see that none are, I decide to push forward. Now instead of going into the dip, I decide to push to here. Now this is something that I do very often on this map, in heavy tanks and medium tanks. Now, what are the conditions that should be met before you push here? Well, first of all, if the enemy is winning the south, just don't push here. Just do not push here if the enemy is winning the south. If your team has nothing in the south, and the enemies have already taken the dip, pushing to this location is just too aggressive. You'll be getting shot in the side the whole game by tanks playing around this area, or even at the church. But since we're winning the south, in particularly because we're winning the south, I decided it's a good idea to come into here. Now what can you do from this position here? Well, the main benefit to coming here is you can shoot people who are playing in the north, and you can usually do it for relatively free. But before I do that, I decided to poke this E100 because I realize he's not paying attention to me. It's a free shot, so why would I not take it? Now, one thing to keep in mind when you're playing this position is whether or not you're being proxy spotted. And this is one of the few cases where I think it's extremely helpful to have on this 50-meter spotting circle. And this is why I keep it on for situations like this, because it will tell you almost guaranteed whether or not you're being proxy spotted right now. So as you can see, the I-7 is outside of my circle. Like the center of his icon is outside of my circle. And you turn on this setting by going to General, and then you go to, I can't exactly remember what it is. Let me see. Expanded minimap features. Let me see what this does. Nope. I actually don't remember where it is, to be honest. Here it is. Show the proximity spotting circle right here. You turn this on. I would highly recommend turning this on. I see even some very good players not turning this on, and I think it's to their detriment, because in situations like this, it's very hard to tell whether or not you're being proxied or not. So turning this on will just let you know. And now I know that I'm unspotted because I've been outside of his proxy circle for more than 10 seconds. So now I can poke the STB and I won't be lit before doing so, so he won't be expecting it. And so this is what I was talking about, where if you come to this position, it's usually pretty easy to farm people in the north. Especially if you're in a heavy tank, because then you can side scrape them. Or just poke out with your hull very angled. Now here, the reason why I decided to poke is because I thought he would have shot the IS-4 if he had a shot. So I wasn't too worried about him hitting me. Now in this situation, I'm almost positive that he's loaded, but I still kind of want to peek him. But I poke a little bit more cautiously this time, because trading one for one on an STB is not the greatest trade in the world for a CS63. Even though I'm still full health, it's just still not ideal. Now pay attention to what I do here. If you looked very carefully, you'll have noticed that I waited for the E100 to lurch forward before firing, and that's because it makes my chances of penning so much higher. It goes from like probably a 20 or 30% chance to penetrate to up to like an 80% chance to penetrate, just by making that small adjustment. Now I'm just waiting to see if the E100 will fire at our IS-4. It's actually possible for their E100 to pen our IS-4 if he just shoots the roof of his hull. So I'm waiting for him to do that, but it's not happening. Now if you pay attention, because of this 50-meter proxy circle, you can tell I'm still not lit. So it's just very nice information to have in the back of your mind. Now here I get proxied, so I have to back off. But at this point in the game, I'm looking at what's lit and what's not. Now everything is lit except for 2 tank destroyers and the artillery. So obviously the tank destroyers, at least one of them is most likely back here, if not both of them. But I'm still kind of wary of their grill, especially being played back here. And it's not really possible for me to push up to this corner right here and start trading with these guys, because first of all, I'd be trading with an E100, which is not ideal. Second of all, the Patton can back off and just start shooting me in the side. And third of all, if they have a TD back here, then they're also going to be shooting me. So it's not time yet to push up to there. Usually it's a good idea to push up there later into the game. Like once your team is thoroughly winning the game and pushing through this flank very, very quickly. But for now, it's not the right call. The game is too close right now for me for it to be warranted for me to do that. Now here, if you pay attention to what I did, I'm just pre-aiming this corner because I know if the Patton pokes it that I'll spot him, and so I'm just thinking that if he pokes this corner, I'm almost definitely going to get the first shot off. And so my goal was to just bait him into poking by poking myself, and then shooting as soon as he comes around the corner and then backing off. And most likely I would get a positive trade on average by doing that. The Arty hits me, which I was not expecting. The Arty must be wide. He must be in like the F line right now in order to hit me from that angle. So that's some extra information for me. And now that I don't expect to get that same good trade on the Patton twice in a row. He'll probably just turn around and go hold down on me. So I come back over here to see what the E100's doing. And as you can see, he's not looking at us, so I am able to poke, and he was over angled a little bit, so I had a chance to pen him in that situation. There, he's too over angled once again, so I pen him. And if you pay attention to where I actually aim, I'm not aiming on this flat plate right here. I'm aiming on this plate right here. Now, the reason why I'm doing that is this plate right here is less angled than this plate, so it makes more sense to shoot this plate than this plate. So I could be aiming here and I would still have a chance to pen, but aiming right here is probably a higher chance to pen. I could be wrong about that. It might just be a visual bug, but a visual error, but I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure that plate is actually less angled. That was a nice shot onto the I-7 lower plate. Now the reason why I'm aggressing here is we're up 3k HP and we're starting to get to the point in the game where my team is pushing through the north, and I need to start making pressure because I'm still full HP and there's still a lot of damage to be gotten, but it's time to start trading away my HP is basically what I'm trying to say. I don't need to play safe anymore. Now I'm not exactly sure how that shot bounced. I thought I hit his front drive wheel, but maybe because of the ping I missed it. I'm not exactly sure. Now here I get hit by the Sturv. I saw that the grill shot the IS-4, and so now I'm a little bit worried about the grill. At least I should be. I'm not sure if I actually consider him, but I'm kind of waiting for the grill to get spotted because as you can see, our chieftain is in C1. I'm almost positive I'll turn towards the grill in a second, most likely. Go for a shot on the E100 first, but I think I go for the grill. Yeah, back up onto this ledge to give me a little bit more elevation so that I get a better shot on the grill, and then I shoot at him. Thankfully I hit. Now I see that the grill is most likely going to be distracted by the T-62A, so I take this chance to push in. Now here, it's another important thing. It's a small thing, but this can make a huge difference to your stats. Now if you're playing to try to win the game, then obviously just shoot the IS-7. I mean, this game it doesn't really matter because we're up a ton, but even in closer games you should obviously shoot the IS-7. But since I know that this game is over and we're winning, I decided to shoot the E100 first because I do more damage by shooting him than the IS-7, and the only real risk to me not getting out as much damage as I can at the end of this game right now is if I get set on fire. That's really the only way that I could possibly not do as much damage as possible. Pushing in right now is definitely the right play. Imagine if I had stayed back by this IS-4 and just sniped the grill. I could have missed that grill like 2 or 3 times in a row. And plus, he's low HP. One of those shots might have been 100 HP. I would just get less damage if I had gone for the safer play of shooting the grill than if I had pushed in like I had so aggressively here. And the reason I can push so aggressively is because I traded my HP well for the whole game. Now, another thing you might have noticed here is I turned towards the E100, and the reason why I did that is because I wanted to make it harder for him to set me on fire. Now, he still could have shot me here, but it just made the target a little bit smaller, and it reduced the chances of him setting me on fire, which would reduce my DPM significantly. And I go for a track shot because why not? If my teammate shoots him, I get some free tracking, so why not? Now here, I noticed that I'm on 780 HP. So it's actually not a good idea to poke the C100 right away. I should look for damage on the other tanks first because there's a small possibility that the E100 high rolls me. So I decide not to engage him first, but I hear him fire, so that gives me the go ahead to go push him. Here, I swear this was just ping because that should have, his track was like here and I aimed for it and then I don't know, it somehow hit here. But I could have swore I aimed this correctly. I think it was just ping, to be honest. So unfortunately I missed out on a shot of damage because of that, which really sucks, but I don't know, what can you do? Probably just a skill issue. But yeah, hopefully this video taught you something about how to play Studzianksi, maybe just some minor things about how to pen the E100 better when he's angling his turret, how to play aggressively at the end of the game when you still have all your HP, and when to know, or how to know when to make that decision of deciding to trade your HP. It really is a difficult decision to make. It's not something that you can make very easily, especially as a newer player. It's something you need a lot of experience to know. You need to know when the game is about to end, basically. And it's a tough call to make, because if I had pushed in probably a minute earlier, then I probably would have just died. But I pushed in at the exact right time, I think, in my opinion, in order to get the most damage that I could out of this game. So yeah, thank you for watching. Let me actually show you the post-game stats real quick, and then I'll leave it at that. Here you can see I did 6,100 damage. Not an insane game, but I still thought I should show it to you because I thought I did things pretty well in this game. 1,000 spotting or assist, 1,100 base XP. I lost 35k because I'm firing all gold because I'm a dirty gold spammer. Alright, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.